Peace. What's good, YouTube? It's your man Kareem back again with another video. Alright, so today I'm going to get into another part of the Empath series, and that's protecting your energy as a natural psychic empath, or as an empath in general, right? And this is one of the most important things for an empath to do, because before you can take your natural gift and turn it into a superpower, you have to understand you have to understand the limits of your power. You have to understand the parameters of your power and how to guard that power and use it to its fullest capability, right? And so the last thing that you want is to hinder yourself by not protecting your power, the proper way, and by sabotaging yourself by not using and protecting your power properly. And so I'm here to touch on exactly how to do that as an empath. All right, so without further ado, let's get into it. So the first thing that I want to say that's going to help you protect your energy as a psychic empath is to stop people pleasing, right? And it's hard, for somebody who feels like the call to really help people, to want the best for everyone, and to want everybody to be happy, right? It's hard when you feel like that's who you are, and that you've identified so heavily with that, and that you love seeing the smile on people's faces. You enjoy that. But at the end of the day, sometimes, not even sometimes, all the time, if you find yourself people pleasing, especially, and if you find yourself people pleasing in general, you're already in excess, right? It's okay to please people. It's okay to do that, but there has to be an exchange, right? Because the universe operates off of exchange. And so when you're people pleasing, that tells your subconscious mind is that you don't feel that you're worthy of an equal exchange. And so you'll compromise parts of yourself. You'll compromise your time. You'll compromise doing things that are healthy for you, beneficial for you, as a result of making other people pleased, or of fitting in with society. People pleasing is a form of the human need to fit in, which is a form of mind control. And so, this can limit your energy as an empath, because what it does is the more you continue to people please, the more you forget about pleasing yourself. You forget about caring for yourself, and you start to listen less to yourself, and that can bring down your energy as an empath, because obviously you need to be able to discern whether or not doing things is proper for you. And when you find yourself people pleasing in general, that means you can't say no. Especially when it's not beneficial to you, especially when you have other things that you want to do. You can't say no, because your energy has become overactive, right? And this is the way to balance this out, is that you have to put a hold on this, and you have to find balance in doing this, and to find balance in doing this is to truly be you. Don't be afraid to be you. It's okay to say no to people, and it's okay to not want to take on somebody's problems if they're not doing anything to fix it themselves, right? You don't have to constantly take on what's going on with others. You don't have to constantly submit to the will of others if it makes you feel wrong about yourself. Like I said in the five signs of being a natural psychic empath, right? One of the things that I said was that when it comes to other people, right, one thing that you'll do is that you'll compromise a part of yourself. You'll let go of a part of yourself, and you'll do it because you want to heal, you want to care for others. But in doing so, you won't really find a way to balance that out, right? And in doing that, right, you are letting go of part of yourself. And plus, on top of that, you have a natural propensity for truth. And so when you're not being truthful to yourself, that's when your own power can start to attack you. And that's why you'll feel like you're losing energy. You'll feel like you're tired all the time, because you're not being truthful to yourself. And like I said, as an empath, you seek the truth all the time, especially when it comes to yourself, and you don't even accept lies from yourself. And so that's when you'll find, your higher self trying to bring you, not even trying, it will bring you back on the right path. And yes, it's going to hurt for a little bit, but that's your lesson to learn from people pleasing too much. And it helps you balance out your energy, right? And it helps you balance out your gifts, strengthen your gift. And sometimes the hardest things for us to do are the best things for us to do. And the next thing I want to get into is learning to say no. And I did touch on this in the last point, but in general, I feel like it deserves its own point and its own explanations, because if you don't know how to say no, you're not going to know any boundaries when it comes to protecting your energy. And as an empath, you cannot be a yes man, you cannot be a yes woman, right? You have to be in tune with yourself and make the decisions that are truthful and in accordance with yourself, right? And sometimes you will have to say no. Even if you don't feel right doing it, it's okay to be a nice person. There's nothing wrong with being a nice person, but what's better than being a nice person is being an authentic person, because nice people are not always authentic. And so when you are being an authentic person, you are radiating more light because you are in tune with your truth. So you don't get any brownie points for being nice. You'll just get thank yous. But when it comes to you being authentic, if you being nice is a result of you being authentic, then the the gifts that you'll receive, that the admiration that you'll receive, and the light that you'll receive will be much greater than if you were just being nice for the sake of being nice, right? If you don't learn how to say no, your time will ultimately end up being compromised. And your mission will ultimately end up being compromised. You have to set boundaries. As an empath, you need boundaries, because if you don't set proper boundaries, people will walk all over you. And every empath, every person needs boundaries in general, but every empath needs them too, right? And so you want to have proper boundaries, and you want to make sure that you respect those boundaries, and you follow those boundaries and those guidelines and those principles for yourself first, so that other people will follow them too, right? Make those boundaries for yourself, because that's what's going to keep you from being in tune with your power versus losing your power. And so the next point is to trust in yourself with large decisions. You already trust your feelings, so you have to trust in yourself with larger decisions too. And larger decisions, meaning like where your intuition is pointing you towards. If your intuition is pointing you towards, okay, you don't have to work here anymore, it's time for you to start doing more things for yourself, follow that. If your intuition is pointing you towards, all right, this person's not serving you anymore, all this person is doing is getting in the way, because you learned the lesson's over, right? The longer you stay, the longer you're preventing yourself from learning future lessons. It's time to let go of this person. Stop making excuses for this person, time to let them go. Many different things, right? This is how our hearts talk to us. You have to trust yourself with large decisions and hard decisions. And sometimes as empaths, we get so focused in trying to heal that it ends up in our heart chakras becoming overactive. And so we have to balance that out, and we have to balance that out by grounding ourselves and really recognizing, okay, with all this intuition, we have to also balance it out with logic too. So we have to logically be able to follow our intuition, and to trust it, right? Because we know that voice is what's going to do what's best for us. So we have to listen to that inner voice more. Now the next point I want to get into is not compromising your inner peace, right? Because a lot of times, like I said, we are natural caregivers. We are just natural, healers, right? But sometimes we will compromise our inner peace in order to do so. And so, sometimes this can involve you staying in places that that you don't need to stay in, being with people that you don't need to be with, compromising your inner peace. And this also ties into people pleasing, but you'll compromise your inner peace just in order to keep things well, to try to fix things. But all the while you are letting go of yourself, because in a way you're also lying to yourself, because it's time to move on. It's time to move forward, or this isn't something that you're supposed to be around. This isn't a place you're supposed to be in. And so you'll compromise your inner peace as a result of doing things. And that ties into not trusting yourself with larger decisions. Your inner peace is so valuable, because you have to generate that within. If you generate your inner peace and you stick with that, you will always constantly be taken care of, because you'll know that your peace isn't outside of you, your peace is within. And so you don't want to let anybody step into your boundaries, right? You don't want to let anybody step into your mind, right? By allowing them to enter into your mind, absorbing their energy, allowing them to step into your mind and have influence over you. You want to compromise your inner peace by letting people get to you. You want to have, like I said, when it comes to the boundaries that you set for yourself, you also want to be able to say, okay, I'm in control, and I can choose how I feel and how I respond to things. I'm not in control of other people, but I am in control of myself. And so that's what I mean when I say don't compromise your inner peace, because you don't want to buy into certain things. You don't want to have people controlling you simply because of the fact that your emotions have overwhelmed you, and you're not logically thinking anymore. So don't let people step into your mind and allow their actions, allow their baggage to influence you as well. You want to have boundaries that prevent that. If somebody's not supporting you, if somebody's trying to bring you down, let them go, right? If somebody just is interfering with your inner peace, or they're influencing you to allow them to interfere with your inner peace, that's a better way to say it, right? But if they're stepping in and they're all they're doing is trying to attack that inner peace and trying to get to you, don't compromise your inner peace by keeping these people in your lives, thinking that they'll change, because they won't, right? They're a lesson for you to keep to trust yourself and to really keep a hold of your inner peace, because you really are in control. So you don't have to allow anyone to stay in your life that doesn't need to stay. I don't allow anyone to stay in my life that doesn't need to stay. And if somebody has set themselves up to it as an enemy to my inner peace, I don't even let them that close to me, really. And they have no jurisdiction over my mind, over what's going on in my head, over what's going on with me emotionally. I choose how I feel emotionally, right? And whatever they do is whatever they do, right? That's on them, but they don't need to be around me doing that. And yes, sometimes humanity does get in the way. Sometimes ego does get in the way. So sometimes you might crack, but when you do crack and you do notice it and you are conscious of it, you have to be able to get yourself back on track. And that comes with just protecting yourself and not letting people step that far into your mind, have that much emotional control over you. Because just as easy as it is for you to heal people, it's also as easy for people to take advantage of that and start to create a vampiric connection with you, right? So you want to really have a strong foundation with your inner peace and your boundaries. Get that book, Psychic Vampires. That I'm gonna leave the link in the description, but that book is very great for empaths. And you also want to get Empath by Judy Dyer. The next one I want to say is you want to be honest with yourself, and you want to be honest with yourself first and then with other people. Like I said, empaths, they function off of truth, nothing but the truth. And the smallest lies will make an empath feel uncomfortable, especially if they're the ones telling it. And so you don't want to live a life full of lies. You want to live a life that you're out of touch with what you want to do for your dream. You want to live a life that you're out of touch, for what you're supposed to be here doing, out of touch with the truth. And if you know something and you have certain belief systems that aren't true, that aren't true for you, you want to let go of those too. You want to question everything all the way, because you want to live your life just doing things, feeling comfortable, right? Just because you're an empath doesn't mean that you have to stick with what's comfortable. You're always seeking truth. Allow yourself to seek the truth. You only have, as far as you're concerned, unless you validated how many lives you've been here. This could be your first life. This could be your last life. And so you really don't want to waste it. You want to soak up all the lessons that you can, soak up all the truth that you can, so that you can return back to your highest element. That's very key. And if you're not honest with yourself, you can never be honest with others, and so you can never honestly heal others or care for others or listen to others. And as a result, you're giving them limited light. You're giving them limited healing. So when you tap in and you create that boundary for yourself, the boundary that I'm always going to be honest whenever I take an inner look within, then that will help you tremendously. And this is hard for me too, because for a while I struggled with honesty, because the reason why is because it was just easier to run from the problems. But as time went on, it never sat well with me. But I had to face everything, and sometimes the longer you avoid everything, it's just gonna build up. Especially if you're an empath, things are just gonna build up, and when it comes crumbling down, it's not gonna feel good, right? And so that can destroy a foundation of an individual if they're not consciously checking in with themselves, right? So the next point I want to get into is you want to trust your gut in the environments that you find yourself in, right? When you're in places that when you're in places that may be new to you, or they may be familiar to you too. You want to trust your gut everywhere you go, right? If your intuition's telling you to go left, you better go left. If it's telling you to go right, you better go right. Like, you want to listen to your gut everywhere that you go, because it's telling you, what's good for you. Listen to your dreams, record your dreams, journal. They give you answers to parts of your life that you want to enhance. Trust your gut everywhere that you go. If you know a place isn't where you're supposed to be, figure out ways to get out of it. If you're looking at a new job, right, or a new place that you're going to be staying at for a while, get a tour before you actually, subscribe to being there for a while, so you can feel out the energy of the place. That's how you protect your energy as an empath, right? And that's very key. And then the next point I want to get into, a way of protecting your energy is also just tapping into your inner world and emotionally checking in with yourself more than twice daily, right? You want to ask yourself, you want to emotionally check in, okay, what's going on with me? Am I okay? What happened today? You want to ask yourself these questions, especially during meditation. You want to emotionally check in. You want to go through a list of things that went on. You want to, if you keep a diary of your emotions and your thoughts, or a journal of your emotions and your thoughts, you want to review these things. You want to review your dreams. Always emotionally check in with yourself at least twice or more a day if you're emotional. If you're an empath, right? Because the more that you get in tune with those emotions, the more that you can really recognize different parts of your power, right? And that you connect more with that inner world. You connect more with the spirit world, because if you're an empath naturally, that's how you're going to naturally connect with things, on a higher level anyway. It's going to all be through the empath filter. That's where it's going to feel. That's where it's going to be the strongest. So your clairsentience is going to be very, very strong. So emotionally check in with yourself. Take deep breaths and really just say, okay, what's going on with me, and listen to it. Listen to it, and then let go of it as time goes on. Surrender so you can let go and grow. The next thing I want to say is, during those meditations, you want to create shields around yourself, veils around yourself through visualization, right? If you visualize that, you visualize protectors around you too, angels around you, whatever makes you feel safe. You visualize these things around you through your meditations, throughout the day and during intense moments too. But you want to start off during meditation. If you visualize this protection around you, it'll start to create a vibration, because you're creating symbols, in the astral world that will protect you. The astral world is connected to the physical world. So if you visualize these shields and veils and these protectors, eventually you will feel protected over time. Keep something around you that makes you feel protected all the time. I see a lot of Catholics, they wear rosaries, they always feel protected all the time. In general, whatever makes you feel protected, keep it around you all the time. That will definitely help as an empath. I promise you that, because it helps me. Wherever I go, I got my organite on, right? And I also know my guides with me, because I'm always tapped in. I'm always, giving them a chance to be around me. I always review my aura in the beginning of the day. I cleanse my aura all the time. Making sure that it's proper. This is what you want to do as an empath. You really want to have that kind of connection with yourself. And so don't be afraid to process your emotions too, because you have to do that, and before you can begin to get into taking care or processing others too, right? If your emotions aren't sorted out, then you're gonna want to isolate yourself a lot, right? If your emotions aren't sorted out properly, you're gonna feel fatigued all the time. So as an empath, you really want to be in tune with yourself, and learn more about your gift. Like I said, read the books and see what resonates. Watch the videos like mine and see what resonates. And if it applies to you, cool. Follow it all the way, and find your own truth through that too. Now, people to avoid. These are gonna be the last few points. So the people to avoid as an empath, right? Anyone that tries to bring you down. And I heard Infinite Waters say this, that anyone who tries to bring you down is already beneath you, right? That's real. So if anybody's trying to bring you down, right? They see you doing something, right? They see you, expressing your creativity, making your music, following your purpose, and they just want to come and they just want to talk their shit, right? Or they see you doing better in your life, they just want to come, they just want to talk their shit. Don't even pay them any attention. When you ignore things, they go away. Promise you, it works. So anyone that's trying to bring you down, let go of them. Especially if they try to use, your purpose against you as something to get to you, right? Let go of those people. And if even if they're not your friends, just don't even pay them any mind. You're gonna have haters, but if you have haters, that also means that they're paying more attention to you than they are to themselves, and they're mad because there's parts of themselves that they're not expressing. If they hate you, they hate themselves for not being able to do the same thing, and that's real. So, more people to avoid. People who don't support what you do or who you are, right? I couldn't care less whether somebody supports me talking on this channel about what I talk about this spirituality, about occult or whatever. I couldn't care less if somebody doesn't support it. If somebody's telling me to go back to Islam, go back to Christianity, I don't give a fuck, right? And you shouldn't give a fuck either when it comes to doing things that you want to do. and being who you are. People telling you that, oh, you've changed. No, you haven't changed. You've grown as a person, especially if you're not the same person who's taking their SHIT anymore, right? That's real. So, people who aren't supporting what you do, who you are, who you become, who you're growing to be, let go of them too. Like, you don't need those people in your life. You want people that are at your level or greater, and and they'll help uplift you. And if people honestly, if you don't have those people in your life, you might as well be alone, or start watching videos of people, or getting into online communities of people that are like that. That way, if that's as close as you can get to people that you want to emulate, or that you want to bring your level to, then get there, right? But the last thing you want to be, or the last group of people you want to be around, is people that just don't support you, right? In my opinion, if somebody doesn't support me, cool. If somebody does support me, cool, because I found balance and I'm indifferent to it. I'm not going to give them the attention of the day, the time of the day, whether they support me or whether they don't support me. Like, it's not my concern. The fact that they're taking time out of their day to make a point means that they have something going on with them, right? And so it's the same thing when it comes to you, doing what you do. If whoever's with you is with you, whoever's against you, whatever, let them do what they do, right? And as soon as you let go, you'll find a lot of problems, fade away. And those people will eventually disappear. The more that you surround yourself with what uplifts you, with what your vibration wants to be. You want to let go of people who use you as a shoulder to cry on, and because you'll listen, but they'll never fix their problems, right? Those people are just leeches, right? Or people who are leeches, mooches, people who are just using you for things. People who just want basically they're around you because they feel like they can get something out of you. They can get somebody who cares about them out of you. They can get somebody who buys them drugs out of you. They can get somebody that provides them a certain thing for you, provides them a certain lifestyle just by being around you, right? They're trying to take from you, and there's no exchange because they give you nothing, or they give you less in return, right? Let go of those people because they're not serving you. And you also want to let go of people who like to hold a form of, or they like to stand over you, apparently. They like to say, unconsciously say that they're superior to you. And they want to hold certain things over your head. They want to hold a carrot over your head. Anybody who gives you that impression, step far away from them. If you got a boss like that who holds your job over your head, leave that job. I can't tell you how many people stay in jobs, or stay in places that, they have bosses that treat them like dirt. Get out of that. They might have partners that treat them like dirt. And might hold their kids over their head, might hold their money over their head. Leave that situation, right? It's easier said than done, right? But I don't even think so. It's always easier done than said. It's just the reason why people say that it's easier said than done is because there's fear involved. So check in with yourself and let go of that fear. When you let go of that fear, you'll see that it's easier done than said. So, drama queens, instigators, right? People who are always, they seem to make a problem out of thin air. More than they seem to manifest anything, more than they seem to create anything. The best thing that they're good at is creating problems, especially when it comes to you, right? They just want to create problems out of thin air. This is self-explanatory. Just there's a nice thing called the block button in 2022, so you don't you know what I mean, like, you don't have to keep those people around you, right? And if they're in your family too, because sometimes you might run to people in your family that are like this. It's okay to let go of family. I know there's that saying, blood's thicker than water, but honestly, let's be real. Let's be real. Some of the worst people that you might know could be in your family. You don't have to give people the benefit of the doubt just because they're related to you. And that's real, right? Family only means something when people act like, family really only means something when they can be your friend while also still being related to you. If they can't, then it doesn't mean anything, right? When you two die, how are you going to be family if you're not blood related anymore? Or they're your family in another life? It's not going to matter. So that's something that we have to really take a look at, and that's another thing, because that can lead to a lot of dependency. A lot of people, giving people the benefit of the doubt. And this is how people end up getting used harder by family than they do by people that they aren't related to, because they want to compromise so hard. Um, that's a form of people pleasing. So that'll definitely destroy you. That'll shut you down. So let go of family that doesn't serve you too, because sometimes you're gonna have to do that. Family, friends, whoever it is, if they're not helping you get to the next level, they're not supporting you at the level that you're at, you don't need them. Sometimes, honestly, this is why I made that video, why you have zero friends. Because if you do have zero friends, that means you're doing the right thing. Anybody that's trying to bring you down, they already got filtered out of your life anyway. They're not serving your purpose at all. It's okay to not have friends, because that means you're saving yourself for the right people to come along anyway, the people that you deserve. And if the only person that you deserve is yourself at that point in time, that's where you need to be. That's what we need to be around, right? I've gone through so many different parts of my life where I had no friends, and I've gone through parts of my life where I had a lot of friends. But there's a difference, when it comes to friends. It's more about quality over quantity. So if you're the only quality that you got around you, let go of anybody else, right? And the last group of people that you want to avoid is people who you want to fix, right? Because as a healer, you're gonna want to fix things. You're gonna want to heal people. You want to help people mentally, physically, spiritually. People who you want to fix that either don't need fixing, won't be fixed because they don't want fixing, and people who don't care about fixing themselves. You let go of those people, right? Especially, people who don't need fixing. It's because you're imposing some part of you that's insecure onto them, right? And so that's why I say check in with yourself, because sometimes you could end up projecting onto people too. Even if you're empath, you still make mistakes. So sometimes we might project, and you might impose on people just because we might have balanced parts of ourselves. That's what the chakras is about. That's what checking in with yourself is about. That's what understanding yourself is about, right? People who won't be fixed don't care about being fixed, right? Sometimes it's not your job, right? Actually, no, most of the time it's not your job. Your only job is to assist. And if people don't want your assistance, that's cool. You know what I mean? But when it comes to people changing themselves, they have to change themselves the same way that you change yourself. You're not responsible for people's growth, especially if they're grown adults, right? You're not responsible for that. Everybody in the world is responsible for themselves. And so, even as a healer, even as an empath who cares about the world, who cares about people, and you have to be willing to create that boundary between you and them that says you are still responsible for yourself, and I'm not going to break my neck for you. That's how I am towards you guys, because you guys are responsible for doing the spiritual work, and I can't do it for you. All I can do here is give my advice, and it's up for you to see if it resonates, and it's up to you to do the work. It's up to you to read the books. It's up to you to do the meditations. It's up to you to really tap into this part of yourself, to these parts of yourself, and to do the research and find your own truth, because I can't do that for you, right? As much as I wish everybody could be on the same page, even then I respect people for not being on the same page, because I like the variety. I like the differences that we have. That's what makes us unique and different, right? And not everybody can be the same. That's okay, but even then, that's my attitude towards you guys in the most healthy fashion, right? And that's my attitude towards people that don't need to be in my life too. So this is very key. And so these are just some ways to protect your energy as an empath, right? And there's many more that I can talk about, and I might talk about them in the future, but this is the first to start off this series at least. So for all you empaths out there, I hope it resonated. For people who might not feel like they're naturally empathic, at least I hope you can take this information and at least see if you can transform it into yourself later, right? Because we all have these abilities within us. Everyone is psychic. Everyone has spiritual powers and spiritual abilities, and so it's a matter of finding them within yourself and using and just bringing them out. So yeah, that's how you do it. And so if you enjoyed the content, leave a like, a comment, let me know your thoughts. Make sure you do your research. And if you're not subscribed, subscribe and put notifications on so you can get notified when I post fire content like this. I wish you all luck in your journey, and peace.